Greetings, dear friends. I'm Dr. Sachin Dhawan. I'm a dermatologist and I practice out of Gurgaon. Today, I want to discuss with you something that is of great importance for today's generation and more so post pandemic, where people are using screens all the time. Like people are spending 10 to 12 hours in front of the screen every day. Now, as a dermatologist, we get to see people, men and women in their mid 30s, saying that, I have skin which looks worse than my mother. My mother never used a sunscreen, she never used a serum, yet she had bright and great looking skin. Why is it that I have dull skin? Why is it that I have pigmentation? Now, the answer to that, partly, in addition to stress, could lie in the screen usage that we have been doing ever since the technological revolution hit India about 20 years back. 20 years back, when I was doing my dermatology medicine, one would hardly get to see anybody with freckles because our Indian skins are naturally protected by damage by light, by the melanin that we have. The melanin darkens up, but it doesn't allow deep damage to happen. So cancers, freckles would not happen earlier. But now we get, teens and 20s and people in the 30s getting freckles, multiple freckles, which was never to be seen earlier. Part of it, I think, is to do with the screen usage that has exponentially increased in the last couple of decades. Now, how do screens actually impact your skin? Now, any light would have three components to it. The shorter wavelength ultraviolet light, we get to hear so much about ultraviolet light. We think that's the most important light that is damaging our skin. But then there is visible light, which is the mid-spectrum light, not very long, not very short wavelength. And then we have infrared light, which basically causes heating. That's the long wavelength light. We will understand, and we'll need to understand how these different spectrum of lights affect our skin. Now, ultraviolet light is damaging and is known to penetrate deep inside the skin, especially the ultraviolet C light. That is why nature and the ozone layer in the atmosphere actually filters it out. Very little amount of it actually reaches the Earth's surface. But most of us don't know that actually that ultraviolet C light is being produced by the screens that we use, and we are exposing ourselves to that light all the time. And everybody, including me, is a guilty party. I also spend a lot of time in screens, much more than I used to do before the pandemic, now doing video consultations. But I take protective measures to protect my skin against it. Then visible light all screens will produce, but the LED screens and LED lights, so be it a mobile screen, be it your computer screen, produces peak emission in blue light spectrum. So blue light is towards the shorter wavelength, towards ultraviolet light, and it has been known to be associated, it's extensively been studied, it's known to be associated with a lot of skin damage and also indirect effects which are there. Infrared light produces heat. Heat per se is okay, but people who have sensitive skin, people who have borderline rosacea, it tends to aggravate rosacea. You may have seen people with butterfly zone redness, small pimples in the cheek area. That's rosacea. It gets aggravated with heat. So when you're in front of screens so close to your skin will get heated up, it will get red, it will get bumpy. Eventually it will lead to broken veins, which is called telangiectasia medically, and may eventually lead to hyperpigmentation or melasma. So screens is one thing, but this is the selfie generation and people take like 20-30 selfies every day. The LED light that the flash is made of, that produces a sharp, high intensity emission of light, and that light also is rich in blue light, and that causes your skin to get damaged as well. So if you take 20 selfies in a day, beware. You need to take more protection against that light. Now, there are direct effects of screen, there are indirect effects. If I talk about direct effect, the first effect that happens is that of hyperpigmentation. People are getting melasma, which is those brown pigmented patches in this area. People are getting more freckles, and a lot of people complain that my exposed areas are getting tanned. My face is getting tanned, my neck is getting tanned, my arms are getting tanned. I don't get out in the sun. What is the reason for it? The reason could be your screen usage. Okay. Not only that, when your light comes in contact with your skin, it produces something called reactive oxygen species, or ROS. These reactive oxygen species are damaging for the cells in the skin, and one of the cells which is damaged, or at least not allowed to work optimally, is called the fibroblasts, which produce collagen. So if collagen would not be produced, your skin thickness would deplete, you will get more lines and wrinkles. So that is why if you spend significant amount of time in front of your screen, photo aging or light induced aging process can happen. This change happens much more so around the eyes. That's why, everyone knows that when you work on screens, you end up developing dark circles. That happens because your skin becomes thinner over there. You concentrate upon the smallest of screens, and then causes these crow's feet to develop over here. And because of lack of circulation, because your muscles are tired all the time, they are not able to aid the circulatory process, you end up having puffiness as well. So it's very important that you take breaks when you're doing your screens. Maybe every half an hour, take a break of 5 minutes, do a little bit of gentle massage around the area, rubbing round and round. You can put a little moisturizer and do it if you want to. Now, additionally, there would be indirect effects as well. We know that light, especially blue light, it sort of interferes with sleep cycle. It interferes with the circadian rhythm or the biological clock. It reduces melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone which our body produces that helps in healthy sleeping. So when melatonin gets reduced, you tend to get insomnia. So I advise my patients not to actually work on screens post 8 o'clock. Finish everything that you have to do post 8 o'clock so that melatonin formation is not impacted, your sleep cycle is not impacted. Increasingly, we are working with the US shift, or even if I have to, as a professional dermatologist, I have to do any presentations and I'm busy through the day, I'll make my presentations till late at night. So that impacts again the release of certain hormones in our body, which have to be released according to the sleep cycle or biological clock. Now, imbalance in these hormones and these neurotransmitters may make you feel anxious, depressed, and may impact hormonal imbalance also. So that's why women are getting more and more polycystic ovaries, male hormone excess. This could be one of the reasons why it could be happening, among other things, of course, lack of physical activity being one of them, high stress levels being one of them. Screens are a necessity, you can't avoid it, but what you can do probably is to try to undo the damage by making changes in your dietary habits, your screen usage habits, and by some active intervention. Now, hydration is most important because dryness of skin happens with screen usage. Hydrate both inside and outside. Hydrate by drinking 8 to 10 glasses of healthy fluids. It can be water, it can be maybe green tea, it can be coconut water, watermelon juice. Take more of these hydrating things. Hydrate from outside by putting moisturizer frequently. Especially in the dry season, the transition season, you need hydration and moisturizer much more actively. Now, since I mentioned about reactive oxygen species, we need antioxidants to fight it so that they don't damage and deplete our collagen and cause more pigmentation. So diet rich in yellow and red colored fruits and vegetables is ideal. It is said that pomegranates have the highest antioxidant capacity. They have beta carotenes, which is a subset of vitamin A, which really helps in protecting your skin. Other things like spinach, broccoli, papaya, watermelon, so all red, yellow and green things you have to have more. Beetroot is an excellent source, you can go in for that. Now, screen habits. Try and keep the brightness of the screen at the lowest, which is comfortable for you, because the lesser is the intensity of light coming out of it, lesser will be the damage that will happen. Try and keep your screen away from you, not right over here. If you're working on a mobile phone, hold it like this. If you're working on a laptop, keep it away from you. Of course, TVs and all are quite far away, so they don't impact you as much. Also, there are certain devices that have the night mode. Now, you have to understand what is the night mode. In night mode, the cool blue light turns into the warm white light, which is moving away from the blue light spectrum, and thus all the impacts that I told you about would reduce. It's also essential to work on the time limit that you're using. Only when it's very essential for you to use screens, you should use it. Avoid social media, limit it as much as you can. Avoid chatting on screens. Avoid doing videos just to kill time. Avoid seeing videos just to kill time. Sunscreens are important. Now, when I explain to my patients that sunscreen is required for you round the clock, they say, "Doc, I don't step out. Why do I need a sunscreen?" I think the sunscreen should actually be called computer screens or UV screens. They are important to protect against the light as well. But what happens is all of us eventually end up using the sunscreen too minimally. We use sunscreen only once a day. We don't use it in adequate quantities. As a result of it, we only get part protection. We feel that we are being protected, but that's not actually really happening. So try and put your sunscreen every 4 hours 4 hours through the day. If you're working at night, put sunscreen at that time also. The type of sunscreen also matters in addition to the quantity and the frequency of use. Safest sunscreen is physical sunblock because chemical filters are not there, and chemical filters tend to have their own set of problems, including sometimes cancer formation can take place with that. So physical filters are the best to go in for. In physical filters also, sunscreens which have a combination of iron oxide, zinc oxide and titanium dioxide are better. Iron oxide is very important because the amount of absorption of blue light in that is the maximum. A simple thing, if I have to tell you, iron oxide is present in calamine in addition to zinc oxide. So probably you can mix your calamine lotion with your physical sunblock. That makes it even more effective if your physical sunblock does not have iron oxide in it. Once the damage is done, we have to try to undo it. That can be done with serums, which are applying serums that are rich in antioxidants. So vitamin C everybody is using. The right concentration is very important. At least 15% of vitamin C has to be there. Many vitamin C serums are very sticky and people end up having acne with that. So that's why a light vitamin C serum, something that's not very sticky, is very, very important. Vitamin C based gel creams are also available, so one could go in for that. Then vitamin B6 and niacinamide as other protective agents. So use serums and creams containing these things. Hyaluronic acid would help in undoing the dehydration that the damage by light has caused. So use a serum with hyaluronic acid also. Ceramide containing serums are also very important. So incorporate all of that in your regime. Now, once thinning has happened, once unevenness has happened, how do you undo it? You would use creams and serums containing AHAs and retinol. Unfortunately, too much information is available on internet regarding this. So every second person who comes into my practice is already using retinol and AHAs, sometimes causing more damage. Retinols don't suit everyone. If you have a sensitive skin, do not use retinols. The kind of retinol, the strength of retinol is very important too. Tretinoin, which is a group of retinols, can be irritating. When we read about on the internet that a Caucasian skin person is using tretinoin, that retinoin we also start using, that leads to skin peeling, damage and sensitivity. Retinols per se are okay. You can start with 0.25% and then go to 0.1% retinol. Gradually you can build up. You don't have to use it every day. You can use it on twice a week initially, get your skin to get used to it, then make it thrice a week. And if your skin allows it, you can use it every day as well eventually. That way. Some people who have acne, their acne can get exacerbated sometimes with retinol containing creams and serums. So people with acne should take extra caution while using retinol. Take the help of your dermatologist while using it rather than choosing something that comes across on the internet as an ad for you. That way they make it look very rosy, but it's actually not that good. Then AHAs. AHAs are alpha hydroxy acids. That includes glycolic acid, kojic acid, etc., lactic acid. Each alpha hydroxy acid or polyhydroxy acid has its own acids. Like lactic acid is more hydrating in nature. Glycolic acid is a little drying but helps the pigmentation quite a bit. Kojic acid is generally well tolerated. Polyhydroxy acid like glucuronic acid are well tolerated as well. So creams and serums containing them would be helpful, but again do patch tests for them as you would do with retinol. Apply them twice a week initially, apply it in the right quantity, not too much, don't rub and massage it. Hydrate your skin first before applying these serums and creams with retinol and AHAs, and gradually build on it. Start with maybe a 3% or a 6% and then go to 8% or 10% or whatever percent that works for your skin. I'll talk about them some other day probably. I hope I've been able to make you understand how important it is to protect your skin against damage caused by screens, and I wish you a very healthy and happy skin. Take care. Bye bye.